right, everybody. Welcome back to the Three Kings Bourbon Podcast here at Happy Hour Bar and Liquor Store in Nicholasville, Kentucky. I am Bryce Wilson. This is
Tucker Schroeder.
And this is
Shane Burks.
All right. So, we start off with bourbon news most of the time. So today we've got something with Brown Forman's 150th year anniversary. Yeah. And Tucker, I know this was something you wanted to talk about today, so I'm going to pass this to you, man.
Yeah, I've been kind of excited to see this bottle. I think it's a cool concept. The public perception on it's been interesting, so I thought we should talk about it. But Brown Forman 150th anniversary bottle, decanter bottle. It looks, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous bottle. Amazing. Comes in a nice wooden case. $2,000 was the price tag on it, but you were also getting a Old Forester experience out of it as well. I don't know exactly what the experience entailed. Hopefully it was pretty solid if you're buying that bottle. Don't think there was a ton of bottles available, obviously, but from my understanding, it was a 12-and-a-half-year-old bourbon for 150 months is kind of what that symbolized for the years there. So pretty cool concept. We're getting some interesting releases this year for sure, as far as multiple distilleries. So
I think that's cool. Them doing something different than like the birthday bourbon.
Yeah,
doing something a little different. But I've always been one to enjoy things that like come with the bottle, like especially if it's something special. Okay, great example that we like is the Knob Creek 18 that comes in the wooden case. Obviously, when you're drinking it, you're not gonna put it back in the wooden case. You could, but like at that point, you're just kind of like whatever. But I think it's always cool to have that. And then on top of that, like to have the experience with it. I think getting something like that would be really good for like a Old Forester like aficionado, like somebody that's like kept up with them, like that's their brand. Like from day one, they're like, you know what, I'm loyal to this brand. I'm gonna go ahead and just chunk up the 2 racks.
Right. Have
this bottle. It's part of my collection, and I get to go do the experience, all that. So it's cool for something like that, but just a normal guy.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, you know what? What we talked about a lot too. There's a lot of memories that are tied to a lot of bourbons. Like there's several bourbons we can all pull off the shelf, and I remember cracking that bottle with you guys or doing something like that. So if you're doing it, it is cool that there's an experience tied to it, and there's a unique collector's quality to that bottle in addition to the experience. Like, hey, I got to do this or whatever. So you got to be a real. We're self-proclaimed bourbon nerds. We say that all the time, but you got to be a real bourbon nerd for this one to be something that is worth the price tag, or just have some money that you don't really care to spend on it, either way, but it's still cool. I think it's unique. And again, just, the experience and the presentation of the bottle tied in with the bottle makes it unique.
Yeah. I think the presentation and the experience is most of the price tag. I think the bourbon's probably obviously pretty good still. It's probably not bad.
What would you think the bourbon would be by itself?
Like tasting wise, like what do you think?
No,
it tastes
I'm
like?
saying like what do you think?
If it was just like a normal thing. Yeah. Well, Old Forester is coming out with a 12-year-old, or maybe it's 10-year-old. I can't remember what it is exactly that they're adding to their lineup. Probably somewhere in like the 200s, if I had to guess, because like 12-and-a-half-year-old Old Forester, they normally price their stuff up a little bit. So
Well, then the secondary value would be crazy, like everything else too.
Right.
But
So
all right, well. We're going to go ahead and get to our bottle of the day, man.
Yeah, I think. Before you get started with this one, I think this was a gift bottle here from Shane and I to Bryce. It was Bryce's birthday last week, so
big old 2.5, man. We're getting up there.
We've mentioned Bib and Tucker a couple times on the podcast, and that was one of your underrated pours. This is another one from the Bib and Tucker lineup here that just recently came out. So. Thought it was fitting to get that from Bryce.
So first of all, man, these guys are awesome, and we always try. We're close friends. We always take care of each other on our birthdays and things of that nature. So first of all, thank you guys for this bottle. I appreciate it. But Bib and Tucker is something again that I was put onto when I was at Jake's Cigar Bar, and somebody told me there's a bourbon out of Columbia, and I'm like, how's that possible? Yeah. Well, it's Columbia, Tennessee. So they've got a 6-year, they've got a 10-year. And again, y'all heard me say this on that other podcast. The elusive 12-year single barrel that I need to get my hands on. But anyway. They've got this double char here as well, which is a more recent release for them. It's right at 88 proof.
88 proof.
So very sippable, not something super high. We're, again, self-proclaimed bourbon nerds and self-proclaimed proof hounds, meaning we like a lot of higher proof bourbons. But I will absolutely have more of a casual sipper at a lower proof, and that's what this bottle provides. So,
and interesting too, I think, you see a lot of like the double oaks marketing or the, extra oaked or whatever, they say double char, which I think is cool. Like I think
so, and I think that you kind of give yourself a little bit of a, I don't know, you differentiate yourself with the whole double oak market and things like that, saying double char. I think So I mean, a lot of what bourbon is marketing. I mean, that's what anything is. It's perception of the brand or perception of the bottle. Mm-hmm. But again, it's unique that they use that word choice.
Yeah,
and that's really how you separate yourself. A lot of companies really want to come in here and swing with the heavy hitters and just do Kentucky straight bourbon. And that's hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have some form of differentiation. Yeah. And if you don't, then it's
you get lost.
People going to literally
get lost on the shelf.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's be real. People going to go pick up a 26 bottle of Buffalo Trace over somebody's stuff that they just started up just because they're like, whatever, we want to do Kentucky straight. Mm-hmm. It's hard to do that.
Or if you see 6, 7, 8 double oaks, and you're like, okay, but this one says double char. Even if it's the same thing, just the work, putting it like that, displaying it like that on the bottle is just different. So
make yourself different. It's important.
But I tell you what, I'd like to get a
Let's get the breather.
Get a nose on this thing. Yeah. Shane, you already know what to do. Put that mustache on there. And I know
it's dark
every time.
It's dark.
It is dark. And I tell you what, for 80, just on the eye test, for 88 proof, this thing looks a little thick, man.
Yeah.
It looks a little heavy, a little viscous.
Let me get the snout on it.
I think it's a unique nose.
Definitely unique. Got a lot going on. There's that. You can tell it's a Bib and Tucker product for sure.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's one thing I've researched. A lot of Tennessee stuff you're going to see it's going to be Dickel. I don't know. I cannot find anything. There's no indication of, I don't know if it's their own stuff. Like, they're a hard brand to really figure out, like, some of the origin. So we can only assume that it might be Dickel sourced, but I don't know.
We don't know if they aren't sourced.
Yeah.
It's not disclosed.
It's not
disclosed. At all?
I can't find it.
Frank August.
If they don't take the pride in distilling, they have to be sourced. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I mean, you can speculate and say, like, oh, whatever. But, like, if you're distilling your own stuff, you're going to be like, this is our own
Here's
stuff.
what makes me think about, here's what the thing is with that. So, like, that where they have that 10 and the 12 year, I feel like those are probably sourced. I mean, most people don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't just have a 10 and a 12. Like, in general, you don't. So, with the 6 year, they've got a lot of it, but that doesn't mean that it can't be theirs either. I don't know.
Right.
But again, I've done a lot of research on this, trying to figure it out. So, it's hard to find. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and get in some notes on this nose if you guys are ready to do that.
My bad.
No, you're good. Yeah, come on, man. Don't throw my bottle.
My bad, dog.
Definitely getting that char. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, that's going to say that. But there's almost like a freshness to it, too. It's like an inviting earth.
It's like a fresh, wood, like a freshly chopped wood.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't really put my...
But there's a little bit of that little hint of sweetness, but it's like a mixture of, and you say this word a lot with bourbon, savory.
Yeah.
There's like a savory sweetness that's playing together a little bit on that nose for me, in addition to some fresh wood and some charred wood. I'm getting a mixture of all these things.
I'm gonna paint a picture right here. For me, it almost smells like you just got your clothes out the washer and you about to go chop some wood.
The mixture to get mixed together. Yeah.
Fresh linen, smelling good, but also just smelling fresh. Not even smelling good. You smelling fresh.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if it's I don't know if this is like a placebo or like just messing with my head here, but that char.
I'm getting it, Tucker. I am too.
It's almost like if you had some marinated chicken or something, and it was like a sweeter marinade, and you put it on the grill like that, how it smells like that. I think that's kind of like what it.
And that's where I said I'm getting some of that like savory and sweet playing together. So I see why you say that, but
it's a little more ethanol-y than I would have thought. To me,
maybe a hair. Yeah, maybe a hair.
It's a little spicy on the nose.
Well, with that being said, you guys ready to rank this nose, or need some more time with it?
I think I'm ready to rock on a rating as far as.
I can kick.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to give it a 3.2 on the nose. I actually enjoy the nose. It's good, but I mean, as I said, it's not something crazy to me.
Sure.
I think it smells good, but nothing super.
But 3 solid, 3 crowns out of 5 solid.
Well, 3.2.
3.2. All right. Yeah, I can't forget your point 2. I'm going to go a little higher than you. I think for this being, again, 88 proof, and not like that's like the lowest proof it can be, obviously, but still a lower proof than what we normally put a nose on. I think there's a lot of complexity with that. So obviously this is going to be watered down because it's 88 proof, but I'm still getting a lot of complexity on that nose. I think it's a unique nose. So with those points being considered, I'm going to give the nose a 3.7 crowns out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really enjoying this, and I'm enjoying going back to the glass to smell it again.
Yeah,
so.
A lot of complexity. I think one thing that attracts it for me, just a hair, is I can't pick a lot of things out of it. Like, it could be multiple things, which I think leans into the complexity. However, lower threes, like 3.2, I think I'm right there, 3.2, Shane. A lot going on. I think it's slight sweetness, but that savory and the complexity, there's like that like fresh oak type of thing going on. Like, a lot going on. I don't know if it's like necessarily put together, but it's complex. So like it gets you thinking. So
sure.
I respect that.
Yeah.
On the nose for sure. So.
Awesome. Well, boys, I don't know about you, but I'd like to take a little sip here.
Happy birthday bottle. Whoa. That's got all types of stuff going on in
It's
it.
a lot.
Yeah.
And the finish is long.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not to the finish
88
yet,
proof.
but it's long.
Yeah. 88 proof is.
I'll start off a little bit because, again, this is my birthday bottle, and I'm a Bib and Tucker fan, so you guys know I'll start off there. But definitely getting that char. But I love it. Like we talked about last night, like a charred marshmallow or some type of char on a food item, or whatever. I'm getting that type of char off of it. It's long lasting, but there's this earthy freshness to it, and there's like a hint of sweetness in there, and it's almost like a very, very mild citrus sweetness almost.
Yeah.
I'm getting some of that, and but just the viscosity of this at 88 proof is impressive to me. I feel like I'm getting a thick liquid. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot going on. I'm getting a lot of flavors playing all over different parts of my tongue. I'm feeling different flavors.
Yeah, I think one thing that jumps out for me, there is a freshness to it, which is like odd for a double char or a double oak bourbon. Not necessarily brightness, but there is a freshness, and I think it's maybe mint or
I could see that,
something along those lines. But I get the char. I get like some type of savory-esque sugar sweetness, like a sugar, not like any type of like candy or anything. Like if you just had granulated sugar and it was like caramelized, that's kind of what I'm getting, almost like that charred marshmallow type of thing. And then there's like definitely that mintiness and a little bit of oak for sure. Like, I mean, it's solid.
Yeah. Shane?
Fellas, I'm trying over here.
I know what's coming right now. I already know it.
I mean, off the rip, I'm really not the biggest Bib and Tucker fan.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. This thing just tastes burnt.
I thought you were rocking with it off the nose for sure. I was like kind of surprised.
Bro, the nose is fine. I feel like it's got a good, little fresh-esque to it, but nah, it's burnt. Like, and yes, last night we were talking about, now, and we'll kind of prelude to some of this. We have tapped into this bottle before, obviously, and when the first time we talked about it, I was kind of giving my perception and ideology of how I felt about it, and Bryce is like, I don't know how you can get that. Like, I don't know how it's so bad. But I'll take a step back again. Me, myself, and my palate, and food, I don't like anything burnt.
You know, like burnt, charred hot dogs, charred marshmallows, nothing, no charred chicken, nothing like that.
No, if it's black, I'm not eating it.
Yeah,
and I'm standing on that.
Yeah,
like we roasted marshmallows. If that joint catch on fire, somebody else
throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's over with.
Yeah.
So I really just that whole burnt taste, any of that charredness, and I mean for you guys are talking about you enjoy it. You getting this.
Yeah.
It's not caramelized.
So you're not able. So you're not able to look past any of the other flavors for your palate past the burnt. Like, do you taste anything in addition to the burnt?
No, I will get into something on the finish.
Okay.
But like for my palate, it's almost like, and this is, I guess, could be disrespectful to you guys, but it's like on the front end, it's like nothing, and then it's burnt, and then the finish is okay.
But you know what? This is another really good time for us to sit here. We all, I mean, with all due respect for ourselves, have a pretty solid palate. We tried a lot of bourbons. We have some knowledge about this. Here's people who are having different ends of the spectrum of how we feel about a bottle. Again, it's so subjective. So a lot of people will say, what's your favorite bourbon or what's the best bourbon? That's almost an impossible answer to give somebody, just because everybody's going to have a bit of a different palate. Same thing with food. That doesn't agree with Shane's palate. Shane's not wrong, but we disagree.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, you've got people here who've had a ton of whiskeys between the three of us, and completely disagreeing on the agreeability of the bottle. So I think that's just another unique point to make sure that people say, just because somebody highly recommends or highly detests bourbon doesn't always mean that you're going to feel the same way.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes a good indication if you know that your palate aligns with a particular person, but it's not the end-all be-all. Right. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and rank it.
Yep.
Again, let me give one more little sip here. I enjoy the complexity of that. I totally get that charred burntness that you're talking about, but it doesn't overpower the rest of the flavors that I'm getting that I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Still some of that sweetness, a very mild citrus, that deep, rich, earthy oak, and that char. I mean, I think it's very complex. And again, for 88 proof, I think it's very viscous as well. I'm going to give this, I'm not going to go crazy, but I'm going to give it 3.5 crowns.
Okay.
I really am enjoying it that much. Like I'm not going to, it's not a 4 to me. It's not high 3s, but it's right in the middle of the 3s, which is a good score for me.
Yeah.
Especially, again, considering the proof point, 3.5 crowns.
Yeah. I think this sits in that range of I can't remember which one we talked about already, but this is right there in that every day you could drink this all the time bourbons. You know what you're getting. It is what it is as far as the label goes, but it's very complex. It gives you a ton of notes and different palate options, I guess is the right way to put it, that you could be satisfied with for 88 proof. Mm-hmm. Not really gonna put you down. You're not putting away big proofy bourbon. You're 88 proof, but you're getting a pretty great package on the palate right there. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm 3.5. I piggyback 2 scores now, but 3.5 is I think a fair score for this one.
Sure.
There's nothing that I love more than and this is just me showing respect, when a bourbon label, whatever, says something and they do it. It's double charred. Okay, and it is double charred. Mm-hmm. It's standing on that. We've talked about different situations, scenarios with them, but out of respect, it is 88 proof. There is some complexity there and some things I'll get into on the finish that I enjoy. I will say that it is very viscous. I do like it, the mouthfeel of it. So I kind of give it some respect there. If I was going strictly off taste, fellas, it'd be a 0. But the burntness just takes over. And
if that's something you don't like, man, it's something you don't like. It's just that simple.
I can't not see it,
Yeah.
And it's almost this is so stupid. You guys know, when you see, the pictures where it's, 2 things in one, and once you see one of them, you can't see the other thing.
I know
it's
what you're
almost
saying.
like that. I'm to the point where, it tastes like burnt, and I can't taste anything else.
There's nothing else. It's just overpowering for you.
It's just the end of it.
Yeah.
So that respect factor there, I'll give it a 1.9 on the palate.
Okay.
And just because it is not terrible as far as everything all put together, taste-wise, I don't like it at all, but over-encompassing, it's solid.
Hey, very fair, man. I mean, very fair. We told you guys on here, we're going to have some times where we're I disagree with Shane, but he's got a very valid point. Again, it's his palate, and that's going to happen for us. I think one other bottle that's like that for us is the Knob Creek 12. I do not like Knob Creek 12 at all. Don't like it. Mm-hmm. I don't like that bottle. I don't want somebody to hand me a free pour of it. That's kind of how I feel about that bottle. I really don't. But you probably would say the same thing about this one.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I really don't want that. I'm like, hey, Shane, here's a glass. You'd be like,
I'd rather not waste it.
I'd rather not waste it. Take it back. So, with that being said, I guess we can really start to look at the finish here. If you guys are ready.
Well, let me get into the finish since I actually.
You did say something about that.
On the finish, there's a piece of it on the back end after it's kind of gone out of my mouth. It's almost like birthday cake frosting.
Okay.
So I do kind of get the sweetness, kind of little aspect in there. I will allude to something else real quick. So random, but we were again celebrating Bryce's birthday, and the first time we cracked into this, I had a donut prior to eating it, and then visited it again, and it was sweeter, but then burnt, and then sweet again. So I enjoyed it for that moment, but it still got that burnt aspect. But on the finish, it's long lasting, and it's like a sweet birthday cake frosting.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it a lot.
It's almost if you had like I feel like you're like if you're thinking of like burnt cookies, like if you have like burnt chocolate, like chocolate chip cookies, they look good on the top, but the bottoms of them are burnt, right? I mean, I've still ate those plenty of times.
I wouldn't.
But that's like, but I know you wouldn't. But that's kind of like I feel like
I would.
I feel like that's kind of what you're alluding
See,
to.
one time I'll talk about this. One time, we were eating dinner and somebody was cooking green beans. Forgot about the green beans, let them burn, and the smell of the green beans. Like I tried to eat them. Like I was like, I don't want to be disrespectful, whatever. Tried to eat them from then. Like for a year, I didn't eat green beans after that because like it was like you. See,
it ruined you.
Like, it's burnt. Like it's just wrong. Like it's acid.
I think there's a time and a place for char, and I think that time and place is definitely a bourbon. Like if you're gonna do it, like I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want all my food char. I don't want all my food charred, but I like a nice charred piece of chicken or maybe a little bit of char to get on a marshmallow. Like there's a time and a place for it, and even like the bottom of a cookie burn a little bit. I would prefer that flavor in a bourbon over the cookie.
Right.
But I think there's a time and a place for that flavor profile. With that being said, on the finish, this finish is long. Mm-hmm. This thing is coating my tongue, and it's just sitting on there. Like, I took a sip a little while ago, and I'm still tasting it. So I'm a big fan of this finish, man. I really am. So with that being said, I'm ready to rank it.
Do it.
I'm going to say, okay. I'm giving the finish a 3.7 crowns. I really like the finish.
Okay.
I really do. I kind of jumped the gun with ranking it there. You haven't given your thing, but I kind of got excited because I really like that. And for us, we're really critical of stuff. So people are like 3.7, that's not good. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I don't give a whole lot to. Once I start getting into the fours, we're like phenomenal finishes. This is just a really good finish. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying it. It's staying with me. I like it.
Yeah, I think, and I didn't touch on this as much on the palate, but for 88 proof, the viscosity you're getting, I think that's where it shines a lot for the finish. Mm-hmm. Very coating on the mouth. You get that char flavor with that coating, which works for some of us, doesn't work for all of us. And I do like it, and I enjoy it, and I think it finishes that way as well. I feel like you get that. I'm trying to feel like the best way to describe it is like if you had like a good grill marks on some chicken, like mm-hmm. that, like that's how it's staying with me. Like that's the flavor I'm getting as far as that char goes. Dude, my heartburn is killing me. I'm not lying.
I've seen your face.
I was like, you probably see it. I told them before the episode, heartburn. Anyway, but that still, even with something like heartburn, still tastes great. I'm still tasting it a lot, and I mean, I think I'm not as high as 3.7.
Okay.
I think I'm in 3.5 again. I think it's just a super solid finish for 88 proof. Like, you're getting a lot out of it, so I can respect that.
I'll go ahead and go with mine. I respect it. I think it's good. I still get the burnt taste on there, but as I said, there were some aspects and notes that I did like about it. So I'll stick at 2.8. Okay. It's above average. Okay. It's something that I could say that I enjoy, but let's just say I kind of want to get into some theoreticals here. If there was not double charred, maybe I would like this a lot. Mm-hmm. Or I also want to, I don't know why I would want to, but I want to know when they pulled this, like what the proof was at, and I want to try it at that. I want to see like, at that point, would you guys think that the char is just over encompassing? Like maybe it's taking over at that point. Maybe they cut it down to 88 because they were like, hey, I might have messed this up a little bit. Like, let's cut it a little bit. And that's just speculation. Mm-hmm. But
that's good because if my memory serves me correct, just the regular 6 year is either 92 or 94 proof. Mm-hmm. This is lower. Yeah. Right. This is lower than the other. So, I mean, you may have a point there, Shane. They may have been like, okay, this is dominating. Like, this char is dominating. Let's water it down a bit so it's inviting for people like Tucker and I, but it's still too much char for you. So that's not crazy to say that. So I guess we're ready for overall scores on this. I'm going to give it a 3.6 crowns out of 5. I think I'm right there. Like, I'm like right in the 3.5 to 3.7 for pretty much every category. But overall, that's really where I'm getting it. It's an enjoyable pour. Again, I think I'll also look for a lot of unique qualities in bourbon now, in whiskey in general, because we've had so many, and I have so many on my shelf that I start to see a lot of monotony in these flavors and these profiles. This is one that's giving me something that's nice to have something off profile that I also enjoy.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, I'm right at that 3.6 crowns out of 5 mark for me.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you made a good point there. I feel like this is a good. It's very versatile. Like it's kind of a switch hitter bourbon where you're getting a double oaked or double charred technically bourbon. So that's a different classification of finish that you can have on your shelf. It's a unique package. It looks cool. It's a conversation piece, I feel like.
Yep.
And it's I think it's very good. Like 88 proof, so it's very approachable. If you do give it out to somebody, they're not going to be, you know, getting blown away by proof there.
Absolutely.
So I think the complexity and the charred aspect of it. I mean, 3.4, so just a little lower off that 3.5, 3.4 overall
yeah.
for me.
It's still a good score.
Yeah.
It's a really good score.
Yeah.
Shane, -10 for Shane.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down for Shane.
Generally, you know, we on our first episode, we talked about how our over-encompassing rankings aren't like averaged out scores of what we do. I mean, we don't have time to sit here and try to compute that in our head.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say this would be one of the first ones where like parts of the first 3 scores are weighted.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the palate is weighted just because I just really didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say I respect the bourbon overall, so I'm not going to dip below the 2s, but I am going to sit right at 2.2.
Okay.
Not something that I enjoy at all, but that's where I give it. The 2.2 is I respect it.
yeah.
If I was just kind of like, you know, a bourbon snob and I'm like, I don't like this, whatever, 0. I just hate it, whatever. But I still am able to see some of the complexities in it. There are some aspects that I do enjoy as far as the nose, the finish, just the palate overall as far as the taste goes. It's just so heavy.
Yeah,
so,
not for you, man.
for sure.
Hey.
2.2.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is the time of the episode that we get into the King's Court. And, you know, we're big sports guys. You know that. We're former college athletes ourselves. We're not hoopers necessarily. However, there's something going on in the basketball world, or just happened in the basketball world.
Yeah, this past weekend.
The In Season Tournament. I was, you know, in the NBA. I was really skeptical of it at first, I'll be honest. I'm like, man, these guys don't care about that. That's dumb. Man, I tell you what, them boys are hooping, dude.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a lot of effort, and a lot of the guys said, who had a lot of playoff experience, were saying that this is like the intensity of the playoffs. So great job by Adam Silver, first of all.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of great things. You know, keeping the NBA competitive where a lot of people say it's not, defense isn't good mid-season, they don't try to playoffs. Well, we got the playoff atmosphere, what people were complaining about during the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And my Los Angeles Lakers took the crown. I was just able to watch them. I was in Los Angeles last week and actually watched them play Houston. So that was fun to see that and watch those guys really go hard. And then Anthony Davis had a heck of a night.
He showed up
against the
for sure.
Pacers, man.
Finally showed out.
I played like a grown man and bullied some people.
41 and 20 is crazy.
41 and 20, and what, 4 or 5 blocks?
I think it was 4 blocks.
4 blocks.
I mean, so defensively, you see that effort there too, and it was that was fun to watch, man.
Hey, former cat.
Former cat. So,
Hey, but at the end of the day, it was the King's Court though. Like it
LeBron.
was LeBron's.
It was the Kings.
See, that
Court.
was tough, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
It was the King's Court.
He came away with the MVP there, or I'm assuming that was for the all-encompassing tournament.
Yes,
He was the
I think
MVP.
he was tournament MVP. Yeah.
So well deserved. I mean, over the course of that tournament, I mean, if there was a game MVP, it would have been Anthony Davis, but that tournament, I mean, LeBron. In those games in particular, you could tell there was a different switch that was clicked on for him as he was playing, as he tends to do in playoff situations, which leads me to believe that there was a different intensity even felt by LeBron taking it serious like that. And I think another thing, too, that we were all very curious as we watched was how are these guys going to celebrate? How are they going to, like, you know, like what was the reaction going to be after they won? And now, granted, it wasn't like they weren't just world champions, but, I mean, they were pretty excited.
It's a morale boost.
There was some cool aspects to it. I mean, you know, you got guys like Reeves getting $500K. Like that's probably pretty exciting.
Hey, hold on, Reeves was hooping.
Yes, he was doing the first half, man.
He was balling, bro. And that's the thing is you see guys like that who, you know, we're saying Austin Reeves, you know, he's got this big contract. Where he at? Just showed it. I think it's cool to see a team like the Lakers who didn't really have the best start of the year.
Yeah.
And we're pretty early into the season still.
Yeah.
And they went 7-0 against the spread and 7-0 straight up.
Yeah, so you did, Shane.
So they were hooping. They were really hooping.
I mean, the intensity's there, man. And you know what? The GOAT took home the first in-season tournament. It's only fitting. In the 21st year, though, I mean, we'll never see that again.
Yep.
It's just – so I saw a crazy stat. What he's averaging right now points-wise, the next 5 people in their 21st year combined do not average what he averages in his 21st year.
That's crazy.
That's just not normal.
You know, it's something like crazy to note too is like Michael Jordan never won an in-season tournament. So it's like
no, he didn't. No, he
so
didn't.
LeBron has him there, and I think that's exciting.
I will add, he just passed Steve Nash for assists.
LeBron did?
Number 4.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I think once, you know, I'll just speak to old head here. My dad was like, as soon as he passes the number 1 points, he's going to be the GOAT in my book. Well, if he's number 1 in assists and number 1 in points, it's actually not up for discussion.
Yeah, it's actually really not a conversation.
Not really. I'm like,
nobody else is ever going to do that.
And then the amount of the positions he plays. I mean, we turned this from an in-season tournament to a LeBron discussion, but that's just what he did. I mean, that was his effect. That was his effect on the in-season tournament. And, you know, with that note, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you guys for tuning in to another 3 Kings Bourbon Podcast episode. We appreciate you all tremendously. Please like, subscribe, and share for us. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you like what you're seeing, please check us out on
YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah, and one last thing, another shout out, another thank you to Happy Hour Bar and Liquor Store here in Nicholasville, Kentucky. You guys can check this place out. It's great. Thanks.
3 Kings Bourbon wishes you to drink like a king, but to act like one also. Please drink safely and responsibly.